What's going on, everybody? This is Hex TV back with another mix breakdown. Female vocals today. We're just gonna hop right in very quickly. Before we start, just want to say shout out to Lorena Ja and Jirian. Jirian is the producer on this song. Lorena is the singer. She killed the song. So did he. He sent me over awesome stems, made it super easy for me. I'm gonna show you everything he sent over, and then I'm also gonna show you how I mixed the vocals. The song is "Trust With That" by Lorena Ja. So please check that out. That's gonna be in the description. Also, if you want mixing done by me, please hit me up. There's 3 ways you can hit me up. DM at ITSH3X, my email at mixbyhex@gmail.com, or my website mixbyhex.com. So all that's going to be in the description. Let's hop right in. We got the session right here. I'm just going to play everything, break down the bussing, and then quickly go over how I actually processed everything. So here is the song.
Your arms like home to me, you make me wanna be myself. It is all in your eyes like no one else around. You're the one that brings me back. You're the one that takes me back. You're the only one that I ever trust with that, trust with that. Forget about the time, I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the same forever. Sounds so good to be true.
Cool. The sends in this song are crazy. Unfortunately, I did not do them. So that's again, shout out Jirian. He's a beast. I did not do the sends. Here are the sends. So yeah, the song is crazy. The only thing I did is on the main vocal plate, I just did a slight EQ, and then I clearly bus all my sends together. So then I did some processing there. So to start, I did low cut, high cut, and then a little bit of 1500 just because it was clashing with the lead. And then I had low cut, high cut, and then some 750 scooped out just to get out of the way of the lead. Some saturation with the Oxford Inflator, and then I soothed it up a bit with a very high sharpness, so that it was not so harsh. Yeah, so now that we got those sends out of the way, I'm just gonna mute them for the rest of the time, just so you can hear the lead vocal more. It'll just make more sense when you're listening. Oh. Boom. Okay. All right, so that is muted. And then I had a couple sends going there. I'll show you those after. Let me just get all these plugins turned off so you can hear what it sounded like when he sent over the dry vocals. And then I have my buses up here. So the routing goes like this, right? So we have the individual tracks. Okay, so I have some processing here. I'm not going to go over it. It's just super like tiny notches like that. It's stuff I did after the fact. So I literally mixed everything and I went back in and I was like, okay, this vocal, I need to scoop out some stuff. This vocal needs a little bit of notching here. It really was not that big of a deal. I could have gone without it and it would have been fine. It was just me being a perfectionist. So yeah. Then, so it's the individual tracks are routed to the folder, and then the folder has its processing. So it processes everything. Then from there, that's where the sends happen. My sends. Usually I'd have like a big reverb and like a quarter note delay, but he already had that going, so I did not add that. And then it's summed, since this is a lead, it's summed up to lead sum. These are the backgrounds, so these are summed to background sum. And then both of these orange ones are summed to all vox. So this is all vocals, and then there's some processing on there too. So that's the routing. And then all vocals just goes to the whole acapella bus, which doesn't have any processing on it, and that's routed to the mix bus. So it sounds complicated, it's really not. It's just going through 3 spots of processing after the individual track. So yeah, we'll just focus on the leads for now. Here's the dry lead vocal with just that basic processing on it.
About the time, I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the same forever. Sounds too good to be true.
So it sounds super dry, but it also sounds really clean still, because he already did some compression, I'm pretty sure, on it before he sent it over, considering how controlled they are. To start, I'm going to show the Pro-Q.
About the time, I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the same forever.
So I have a bunch of nodes here. That has like a cool 24 dB per octave slope. so it's not really pointy. It's like flat at the bottom. That's good for like shelving out certain sections instead of like a low shelf or a high shelf. It's like a band shelf. It's cool. And I did that 3 dB and then dynamically pulled down even more. Did that a couple over here too. It's just all these resonances, stuff like that. And then I did a high cut and a low cut. It's pretty basic. Then I have it on natural phase just because I'm doing EQ points so close to each other that they like cause a phase shift and it might screw everything up. So I did natural phase. Linear phase is better for that. But one, my computer isn't powerful enough to run linear phase and like not shit itself after like a couple more plugins. And then natural phase, I feel like sounds more natural. It's like, I don't mean that as a pun, but linear phase causes some latency and like causes low end and shit to like zoomp and like add this like weird sound effect, and like I just don't like that, so that's why I don't use it. Especially on kicks and 808s and stuff like that. Definitely not. All right. Then next is the Faraday Limiter. This is just basically shaving off the very tip of the peaks. And then I have this vibe section right here, which is pumping some auto order saturation, auto order harmonics with saturation. And the warmth knob is like controlling the non-linearities of, you know, the actual saturation, like how warm or how bright it's going to be. So I can do without and then with on that.
About the time I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the same forever. Sounds too good to be true. Take me out of...
Yeah, so I'm barely shaving it off. It's only like a dB or two, and then I'm adding a dB back in. Saturation, I'm pumping a good amount of saturation. I got it at like 50% for the drive, just because dry vocals, when they're sent over, don't have a lot of energy to them, so people usually over compress, and I don't like to do that. So I just like pushing the saturation to get that energy without affecting that dynamic range. Next is that de-esser. It's on single vocal mode with the Pro-DS, so that only catches actual sibilant sounds. Everything else it ignores. And then I have it the whole band, because since it's only doing the sibilants, it's basically like lowering the volume of the S's instead of, you know, like scooping out a certain frequency of the S's. And then this is like 7.5 dB. It's pushing it down by. Next is Ozone 8 Dynamics, which is basically like my compressor for the song. Barely doing like a dB of reduction, a dB and a half maybe, with like a medium attack, medium release.
About the time I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the same forever. Sounds too good to be true.
So that basically just smooths it out a little bit. Ozone 8 Spectral Shaper, fire. So this is what I use. The reason why I didn't EQ out high mids and stuff like that is because I use this, and this like completely just like smooths the high mids out. So it's that frequency range right there, like 2 to 5K.
About the time I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the same forever.
It literally, it's like, I think it's like a bunch of micro EQ moves happening at the same time, that like in that range. That's what the manual said, something like that. I'm not sure, you could correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it sounds really good and it sounds super natural, so I like that. So that's how I control my high mids, is with this plugin right here. If you have it, definitely use it. I highly recommend. Neutron is just the transient shaper. I did like a half a dB of transient. Let me show you with the instrumental playing.
About the time I know we'll never change,
Sounds super
'cause
flat.
we both love the same forever. Sounds too good to be true. Take me out of the blue.
So what that's doing is like adding the consonants, like making them snap a little bit and not making them sound so flat after the compression that I was doing. Next is the Pro-MB. Learned this trick from Yanni AP. Shout out Yanni. He is like Alexander 23, Jeremy Zucker's engineer lately. This is what he usually does. So like 600 and something and down. Really slow attack, slow release. To let the low end go through and kind of live a little bit instead of being like pumped out, like immediately like pulled down as soon as it's too much. It kind of smooths the low end out instead of, you know, dragging it down.
About the time I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the same forever.
what's good is that it like makes it sound like the beat is like the vocals are sitting in the beat instead of like the low end. Having the low end not controlled like that, it makes it sound like it's like bubbled up on top of it, and I didn't really like it. It didn't really sound like it was fitting in the song. So that low end scoop helped a lot with that trick. Next is Spectre. So this thing is fire. It's like a parallel EQ with saturation, so you can choose a saturation mode. There's a bunch of them here. Warm mode I'm using on the high mids to bring the high mid energy back into it after controlling it. Doing a big boost, like 2.5 dB, because it needed a lot of it to cut. And using the warm setting, which is like even order harmonics, which is gonna like smooth out the resonances and the high mids. So it's like really nice for a high mid boost, so it doesn't sound too harsh. And then the highs, I did just clean mode, which is just parallel EQ. It has no saturation. It's like a shelf, like 11K and up. So yeah, and I did like a dB boost to like compensate for all the reduction that we were doing before too. So let me play that with the beat, without the beat.
About the time I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the same forever.
So that's gonna make it cut a lot more. I'll play with the VB here.
About the time I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the same forever.
Big volume jump, but it's making it cut a lot more and making it more airy, which is nice. So that's that. Here are the sends. So it's just like this short reverb that I have here. Do that quickly.
About the time I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the
Doubler.
About the time I know we'll never
And then a slap delay.
About the time I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the same.
It's just very subtle stuff to make the vocals sound wider and more filled in. Special Vox is literally the same chain as the lead. It is just a lot less EQ moves, just kind of more stuff to make those vocals sit around the leads instead of clash with them. So like that's why there's a mid cut and like those low mids are cut out, and the low cut is a lot higher. De-essing, of course. Limiting.
About the time.
Tapping. I'm using it again just mostly for that vibe section to control the tonality of those vocals. Kind of glue it together with some saturation. I did that also here, gluing it together with a bunch of saturation to kind of smooth everything out, because saturation like fills in the gap, so that's frequency spectrum. So it gives it more energy and more unity between all the individual elements, because there's a bunch here, as you can see. Next is the compression, again, to glue everything together because I want it to be super glued. Spectral shaper to control the high mids, because that's where the energy lives, right? The high mid energy. So I have it pulling that down a little bit with the same exact trick. No sends on that because he already had his sends. These non-gang vocals are like anything that's not spread out harmonies.
Forever.
So it's just that one part, the word forever. Again, pulling out some low mids and some higher mids to stop clashing with the lead. De-essing as usual. And then this I'm limiting a little bit more because it's up the middle. I don't want it to have as many transients. So I try to brick wall that a little bit.
Forever.
So that it's not popping out in front of the lead vocal or clashing with that at all. So the leads goes to the leads. There's no processing there. Background is these two folders right here going up to it. This is a side chained EQ from the leads. The backgrounds are getting like a high shelf down.
Forever. Sounds so good to be true. Take me out of the blue.
So that the backgrounds are getting, their air isn't clashing with the lead air. Faraday Limiter is doing a little bit of limiting.
Forever.
Side chain to the lead so that the backgrounds aren't poking out in front of the lead. And then I have an LA-2A
Forever.
doing literally like a dB of compression. It's just for tonality mostly, not really for any actual compressing.
Forever.
Some harsh frequencies there, notched out. And then to cap it all off, I have the handy dandy soothe, high sharpness,
Forever.
super low depth though, so it's not going crazy. just to smooth it all out and cap it off. Makes it sound super, super, super clean. So yeah, that is all of that. Let me play it with the sends in.
Sounds so good to be true. Take me out of the blue. Some things are tragic, but not forever.
Which is dope. Like, those sends are crazy. So shout out Jerian for that. So I'm gonna play the hook here.
Just with that, forget about the time. I know we'll never change, 'cause we both love the same forever. Sounds so good to be true. Take me out of the blue. Some things are tragic, but not forever.
So that's gonna wrap it up. If you guys want mixing from me, again, I know I already said it in the beginning of the video, please hit me up. Those 3 spots that I was talking about, all my socials and stuff, that's all gonna be down in the description. Do not worry about that. Other than that, shout out Jerian, shout out Lorena. Hit the like button and subscribe button, please. I'm trying to grow this channel a little bit so I can do cool like preset stuff and sell sessions and stuff like that. So I want to, you know, get us out there. So, and if you support me at all, definitely leave a comment and hit those buttons for me. It's gonna be it. Peace out. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.